Hi, this is the Daily Overpass. My name is Eric and I make apps. Now today I want to talk about the getting featured by Apple strategy. Okay, so this is episode number 100, right? I finally made it. I was always thinking, when I get to 100, should I just stop, right? Will I run out of things to talk about? In fact, I wasn't sure if I'd be able to make it through the month of January doing the video frequently and be able to keep going. But I appreciate all the questions and the comments you guys have coming, and also you're tolerating with me on days when it may have been a little bit slow, when we talk about things that are not even app related. They're just sort of, maybe just like a personal story or me working in a certain place or something like that. So I really appreciate all that. And one thing, so I was thinking whether or not when I got to 100 I would just stop. And then I was thinking, no, you know what? I'm just starting to pick up steam, and like with everything else, you learn as you go. And so what we really have to do is ramp up things, right? You need to start doing a better job on a lot of things. Like just change it up a little bit for the next 100 episodes. And I'm not sure how yet. I think we need to talk about some more interesting topics, right? And also the thumbnail. So Neon Blade said yesterday, one more thing, after 100 vids, I strongly advise you start working on the thumbnails. You must make them more appealing. You got 4,500 subscribers, and you're still low on views. Half the thumbnails are showing you, and half is showing the title, and just showing you with a different shirt. How about, pull out nice thumbs, I bet you'll get double the views. And that is absolutely right. This is one of the things that, I've noticed is, my thumbnails suck. I thought they were good at the beginning, but when I started doing daily, I thought I would be going outside more, and I thought I would, be me on the road and everything, but it's just me sitting here. And one thing, if there's one thing I learned from doing the 100 videos so far, the 100 daily videos, is I have like 4 shirts, right? And I could be trying to be all cool like I'm Steve Jobs, and that's on purpose because I don't want to make decisions in the morning when I'm dressing. But that's not the case. I hate buying clothes, right? So, when you put all the thumbnails together, you see, dude, man, I have like my wardrobe is just terrible. So that's something to think about. So we'll jazz up the thumbnails a little bit, and maybe I'll stop saying my name is Eric and I make apps. Maybe I'll just say my name is Eric, or maybe I'll just make up a new name, right? Because I've always hated the name Eric. And if your name is Eric, I apologize for what I'm about to say, but I speak from experience here. Is like Eric, it just seems like when people say the name Eric, it sounds like they're whining, like Eric, right? I want to be something strong and bold like Jake. Jake, hi, this is the Min of Overpass. My name is Eric. Oh, right, this is the Min of Overpass. My name is Jake, and I make apps. See, that sounds so much stronger, right? Or Steve, or Mike, or Dave. Just like one syllable, just, hey, I'm Dave, right? That sounds so much better than, hey, I'm Eric, right? So, anyway, thanks for putting up with me for the 100 episodes of the daily one so far. We'll keep going, and I'm really looking forward to it. Anyway, today, what I want to talk about today is being featured by Apple. See, I've read a lot of things lately about a lot of articles, not just lately, but a lot of people where the strategy on putting out an app is to put out something that's not very niche. It might not be very specific to a certain market, but the hope being that if we could get it featured by Apple, then we'll be set, right? And it seems to be more along iOS developers. I don't notice this so much with Android developers. It might be a generalization, but a lot of Android developers don't seem to be looking towards being featured because the way Google Play works is so much different, right? But it reminds me of like years ago. I'm a big Seth Godin fan, so I've read pretty much all of his books. I used to read his blog every day. Here's one of the ones I read. I read this one back in like 2003 with Purple Cow. I mean, it's a really, really good one about marketing and everything like that, right? And I remember reading a blog post of his, like, God, it was a long time ago, where and this was like before the app market even. And he was talking about book authors. He was talking about how many authors were out there that were just, they would put out a book that was not very special, was kind of just ho-hum, and their whole strategy was, if only Oprah would review it on her show, then they'd be set. Like, that was the dream. If only we could get Oprah to read it, right? Then, or a big famous celebrity, right? And this is what I think about when I think about the strategy of being featured by Apple, right? I think it'd be great if it happened, right? It'd be great if you could make that happen, put yourself out there. And I know there's strategies to be noticed by them and everything. But if you put an app on the market, I just think that being featured by somebody else and hope to be able to schmooze up to them, it puts so much outside of your control, right? You know, on a daily basis, you know, when you're trying to get people in to see your apps and try to, you know, push out to all these different channels, you know, put things out onto social media, you know, maybe do videos, all that kind of stuff. You know, that's something you could proactively do, but hoping that somebody else will notice you, it just always seemed far-fetched to me. Now, I could be completely wrong. Let me know if you guys have had that, you know, that strategy and it worked, where you decided to go out there and really work at, you know, getting Apple to notice you, or even Google to notice you and featuring you, and if that helped to bring monumental success, and even if it was lasting success. Because my understanding is that, you know, if you're featured by Apple, you might have 2 or 3 days of high downloads, but then, you know, you're not going to be featured there forever unless you have high downloads from the beginning, right? Yesterday I talked about changing my app name, and that even changing the keywords, my app still stayed at the top, right? And I think one of the reasons is because we have the app stores are so saturated that the app markets are starting to reward high download rates, and it's a chicken and egg situation, because, you know, I mean, the app stores, what they want to do is, if somebody's searching for something, they want to give them the best one at the top, or the one that's most likely the best, and they can't, you know, the only way they know is based on reviews and number of downloads and how popular it is. So, you know, the popular ones stay at the top of the list, they remain popular, the newcomers find it hard to get up the list because nobody will try them, and it's just such a chicken and egg thing at the moment that you have to rely on lots of other things like advertising and everything like that. And you know, and to think that to be featured is just yeah, to me it just seems like a strategy. It doesn't seem like a strategy. It's not, to me it seems like a wish and not a strategy. But, you know, I could be wrong. It just, you know, I've never really pursued that kind of thing. So anyway, let me know what you guys think, because I'd be interested to hear what you guys say. I know a lot of you guys are Android only, and you might not even think about that kind of stuff, you know, being featured on Google, you know, because it's you know, it's much different. It's so much, you know, geared towards the individual person and everything. But anyway, let me know what you guys think. I'm looking forward to the next 100 videos. You know, thanks a lot, guys, and I'll talk to you on Monday.